Did you know Ian Garry has a TikTok? Like, I'm not giving him shit for having a TikTok. That's how I got started. But Ian Garry has responded to Colby Covington's cringy 3 stipulations. If you don't know what that was, I'll give you the brief rundown of it. He offered, the first stipulation was, and I do agree with this, and we'll get to this throughout the video, Ian Garry has to turn his comments on, or he has to forfeit the entirety of his purse. Now, I don't know legally if you could forfeit the entirety of your purse. Whenever somebody brings that up, I'm always like, well, I can't legally gift you $70,000 to $100,000. And if you think the UFC is going to write up a contract with a comment section clause in it, I'm sorry, you're just mistaken. The second stipulation was that he has to send a video of his wife, Layla Machado, getting on her hands and knees, begging Colby Covington to accept Ian Garry's call out. And the third stipulation, again involved Layla Machado. Colby Covington wants to do a pick of the week video, kind of looks like that. But instead of, the 2 models that he buys for these videos, he wants to have Layla Machado Garry do it. Overall, kind of cringe, okay? Stipulations might be some of the cringiest things in combat sports because it's just a super fancy way of saying, I'm not really interested in a fight. That's what it is. I understand why Colby's doing it, and we'll get into all the reasons for why that is. But Ian Garry responds on his TikTok page, right? And looking at his TikTok, this isn't that bad. 82,000 followers, 1.3 million likes. I'll say that's actually not that good. Yeah, no, 1.3 million likes is not that good. What do I mean by that? Usually, if you're average, if you have 82,000 followers, you want to have about 1 million likes for every 10,000. That's just how it's worked for me. I have around 4 million. That sounds kind of doozy. But anyways, let's get into Ian Garry's response video. And yeah, no, it is kind of that bad.
Listen here, Colby Chaos Covington. You are in no position to tell me what I should be doing in life. You'll do as you're told.
Did he? Okay.
And you gave me 3 stipulations, all of which had nothing to do about fighting, but we're all talking about my wife.
Layla, get on your hands and knees and beg.
I don't know how you were raised, but women aren't property, and my wife definitely ain't no trophy. You should be
I don't think that line came off how he liked. Okay? I'll say this. Ian Garry, I don't know if he improvs these. I feel like he does because for whatever reason, that line did not come off like how I think he thought. Now, so far, we're doing pretty good. He's making fun of the stipulations. They were pretty dumb. He's pointing out the fact that Colby Covington has failed championship title attempts, 3 in total, 2 against Kamaru, 1 against Leon. It doesn't really matter against the competition. That's 3 title shots that you failed. Overall, we're going pretty strong. I've already watched this video. That's why we're reviewing this, because we take a steep drop-off later on.
Be focusing on me. I'm the one who's in that octagon with you. I'm the one who's going to punch a hole in your head. So stop.
This is just a pet peeve of mine. I hate people that have the narrowed down look and they talk like this. I talk with my hands, but there's something about the motion of this. I don't know why it bothers me on TikTok videos. I don't know what it is, but I'm nitpicking.
Stop swerving me and keep Layla's name out your mouth.
How many of you guys have fucked Ian Garry's wife?
You're not America's favorite fighter. What?
Strickland is. I think we should have just skirted that entire line. We should have skirted the entirety of that line and not so off when Colby Covington... I'm sorry. When Colby Covington actually did that press conference and said that line, how many of you have fucked Ian Garry's wife? The reason that actually did come off as effective and funny is because somebody didn't make it to the press conference. Okay? and let me make something clear. I don't agree when people bring fighters' families into it. But the one thing that I will add, your wife is a public figure. Like, she reminds me a lot of the, isn't it Meghan Markle? She reminds me a lot of the chick that married into the royal family, but complains that her privacy is no longer a thing, but has a podcast. Okay? And brags about the numbers that her podcast get. That's a completely different rant against the royal family I got beef with. But you are no longer entitled to being a private person if you have over 100,000 followers on any social media platform. Okay? Like, I understand my privacy is not super guaranteed, and I don't have anywhere near the following of 100,000 followers on a social media platform. So I would say that, like, your wife is a bit more public of a person than you think. So I don't think the same rules apply.
You are is a peak underperformer. You're the only person in UFC history to lose 3 world title fights, and you haven't got a single win against anybody in the top 15 right now.
Thank you for bringing that up. The fact that contenders that are in the welterweight division do not bring that up, except for Bilal Muhammad, is absolutely insane. I am so happy that Ian actually brought this up, because it was insane that he got a title shot, but I understood it because Leon wanted a payday, and that was an easy way to sell the card. But if you want to get a fight against Colby Covington, bring that up. Like, the stuff that what he's saying right now works. Let's just keep going.
So, Colby, why should I fight you?
What do you mean? I could name 3 reasons why you should fight him. Okay? Like, this is where we start taking down the deep end, okay? Some of you have already seen this video, and you know, like, the turn that we're going to take and how he can kind of drop the ball on this. What do you mean there's no reason to fight him? Let me enlighten you on the situation that you are in, okay? You are probably the most unlikable fighter at welterweight. Colby had to try for the entirety of his career to be as unlikable as you, okay? What you were able to do from the Neil Magny fight to the Jeff Neal fight, honestly, is almost a masterclass on how to become unlikable. Like, you could pull off a crazy heel turn, but you gotta turn the comment sections on. I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously as a heel if the comment sections are off. But let me give you the reasons why you need to fight Colby. Number 1, Colby fought Leon Edwards and didn't get finished. Okay? He had a terrible performance, didn't get finished by Leon Edwards. So by fighting Colby Covington, and if you're able to get a finish against him, you have put yourself in a place potentially above a Savkat, potentially above a JDM, because you finished somebody that Leon Edwards wasn't able to finish. Somebody that Kamaru Usman wasn't able to finish in the second fight. So, that's one reason. Second reason, Colby Covington is probably the most marketable fighter in that division right now. Now, don't get me wrong, that's going to change, because I know how you said he's not America's favorite fighter. Yeah, no, that's Strickland. Strickland pilfered the entirety of his fan base right from under him. So, but he's still one of the few marketable people in that division that you could sell a full fight night with. And the reason that I think you should do it at a fight night is you need 5-round experience before we throw you up there. The fact is you need to get above a Jack Della Maddalena. You need to get above a Savkat Rachmanov. Maybe right after... Damn, burp. Maybe even right after a Bilal Muhammad. And while Savkat's fighting JDM when they're recovering, you could slip into that championship contention against Leon Edwards if you get a win over Colby. That's what you can do. And third reason, dog, the shit that he has said about you should be reason enough for fighting him. Okay? Like, taking the high road is no longer a thing anymore. You're one of the most unlikable fighters in the entirety of the UFC right now. Taking the high road's not really going to work anymore. Okay? And for people saying, oh, you just don't like him because of this, because of that. I don't give a fuck about his marital situation. The reason why I dislike the dude is because he feels like a rules for thee, but not for me. Let me explain. So he comes after Neil Magny to the point that it actually gets him in trouble legally, okay? It makes him out to be a child beater, okay? Which is not true, by the way. It was one awkward line that Neil Magny said, and it actually almost culminated on Neil Magny's kids being taken from him in a nasty divorce settlement. And when Ian Garry was asked by Ariel Helwani, hey, do you want to walk back anything that you said? While this is still going on, and the reason that it does involve Ian Garry is because they were citing what Ian Garry said in that in that case, right? And the fact that he didn't walk any of that back and had no regrets about it, understand that you deserve what's coming to you. Your family doesn't, okay? Like, your family doesn't deserve it, but you put them in a position where they are in the crosshairs of this smack talk. But that's my gripe, okay? But you need to fight Colby. That's what this rant is. But let's finish off this video.
I can think of one reason. I challenge you to an I Quit match.
Did he really just fumble at the very end? Did you really just make a WWE reference?
One of us has to say, I quit.
Holy shit. He actually did make a WWE reference. Okay. I am knocking down at least 3 points for this. Did you really just add a stipulation to this fight? Just challenge him to a fight. Do you know what would have been baller? If at the end of this video, you point out to the fact, the one thing I will give you, Colby, is that you do have decent cardio. You do well in 5-round fights. So I challenge you to a 5-round fight. That's what you could have said, and I would have given you respect for it. But you dropped the ball at the very end, and you know what? Might as well. Let's watch the entirety of the video.
And whoever says the words I quit has to retire. Gloves off, center of the octagon, sayonara, my friend. I'm going to be the final chapter in your legacy of failure. I am going to rid the UFC of Colby Covington for good. And I'm going to make MMA great again. Listen here, Colby Chaos.
Oh! Okay. Whoa, that ending was bad. Okay. And the reason why I understand we're playing against the Colby character, okay? But when you have beef with Strickland, which I don't agree with a lot of the stuff Strickland says, okay? I think Strickland says one thing that makes sense and then he instantly ruins it with another thing that he says. You are not gonna get the American fan base. I cannot stress that enough. Dog, let me tell you what's happened so far, okay? If you haven't noticed. The Irish fan base has disowned you. Dog, I held a poll, not even on this channel, on a channel where I have almost 40,000 followers on, okay? That I've been creating content on this for over a year now. The majority, at least from that segment group, Ireland barely accepts you. They call you a missed opportunity, okay? You want to represent Brazil because your wife is half Brazilian, okay? Let's just go there. When I searched up your name on here, Ian Garry, you didn't even come up in the top 10. I actually had to look up Ian Machado Garry to get you. So, you train over at Suitbox with Charles Oliveira because you want to represent Brazil, which is something that you've said, by the way. You would love to represent Brazil later on. So you fumbled the Irish fan base, okay? Probably some of the most passionate groups of people I've ever seen in combat sports. You fumbled that. You had the blessing of Conor McGregor, the seal of approval from Conor. I understand that to a lot of people that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, that doesn't really mean anything. It means a ton as an Irish prospect. Okay? You fumbled that. You want to represent Brazil. Okay. And now, you want to take a jab at getting into the American fan, but you're just not, okay? You want to know why? Because you started beef with Strickland. Strickland is one of the few superstars in the UFC, and the UFC is in active denial of that. You're not getting the American fan base. You also said that you, as a professional fighter, were scared of traveling into the U.S. because of the recent things on the internet. Dog, did you really just get cyberbullied by the American audience? And did that really just happen? Yeah, no. In all honesty, I'm harping on it a little bit, but I'm going to give Ian Garry a little bit of credit. Because you want to know what he did? He turned his comment section on. Let's take a look at some of these comments. I haven't read any of these, so there's no bit. And in all honesty, not gonna lie, okay, but this was an amazing response. Not too bad, Ian. I haven't read these. Honestly, amazing response. Okay, like there is some support. I'm not saying this is a bad response by any means. I am saying that. You just dropped the ball at the very end. Colby by mental warfare. Bro wanna be Connor so bad. I actually want Ian to win for once. Yeah, no. This is the battle of the unlikables. Colby has tried the entirety of his career to be unlikable as possible to sell pay-per-views. Ian Garry is trying to be as likable as possible, but is staying unlikable. It's a very interesting fight in that way. I'm very curious who's going to get booed in the press conference. Colby Covington or Ian Garry? My wife definitely is a trophy. I'm so glad that somebody else is pointing that out. That is not a good line. Just constantly quoting McGregor. Oh, yeah, no. Stop. We need to stop the McGregor quoting. Shut up before you're... I actually think that you got some support. But... you know what? I told you so. This is a Dublin thing, not a McGregor thing, not an Ian fan, just saying. Yeah, no, maybe that is a thing. But, Ian Garry, if you want to get the fans back on your side, this is what you need to do. And I'm not going to take the MMA guru approach and ask you to end your relationship with your wife. Because I'm telling you this right now. First off, I don't know if they're married or not. But I'm just going to say it. Layla 100% strikes me as a woman that is going to take it all with the divorce. Plus, you have a kid. So, I would actually encourage you not get a divorce. Like, yeah, maybe we'll give you some credit. Maybe you'll become in, like, Strickland's little crew of people. But, yeah, no, so he's going to take half your shit for the rest of time. I'm telling you, that's 100% going to happen. You're probably not going to see your kid again. So, yeah, no, he's stuck. But turn your comment section on, and I can at least give you credit for some of your callouts. I couldn't even find this on your Instagram, and yeah, all of your Instagram comments are turned off, so instantly I can't give you credit for anything you say on there. Especially when you're smack-talking Jeff Neal on Instagram, but when the press conference comes, you shake his hand and promise nothing's going to happen, and then you got roasted on Twitter for it. Overall... I'm gonna give this response probably a 6 out of 10. You just dropped the ball at the very end. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I got a few more videos to get out today. And I'll see you all in the next video. Adios, guys.